Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Games from Scratch, and if you're aware of the Godot game engine, you probably know that it can be programmed in a couple of different ways. It's got its own built-in scripting language, it was written in C++, and there's a couple of other options there. But what you may not be aware of is there are a number of different add-ons, modules, GD native modules, and so on that actually bring a number of different programming languages support to the Godot game engine. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at all of the various different programming options available for Godot, and we're going to start with the straightforward and easy stuff. This is the stuff that is built in out of the box. Now, the first one we've got, obviously, is GDScript. Now, GDScript is a Python-like dialogue. It's a scripting language. It is very, very loosely based on Python, but if you're comfortable with the Python language, you're going to probably be comfortable with GDScript. It's getting a whole lot of love in the upcoming Godot 4 release, but right now, it's a pretty simple scripting language, and I guess that's kind of the idea behind these things. So next up, we've also got visual scripting. Now, visual script is kind of almost functional equivalent to GDScript, but it uses this flow graph style of programming. To be honest, it needs quite a bit of improvement before it's really a productivity tool, but it is definitely taking steps in that direction. And what you can do here is you can create code that can be handed off to a designer who can modify and tweak values without actually having to understand, full-blown coding or scripting environments. So there are definitely uses for it, and hopefully in time it improves a little bit more. Now, one of the big things with Godot 3 and improving through Godot 3.2, so it's now on all of the various different available platforms, we have C# script. I guess I shouldn't say script. We have the C# programming language support in there via the mono bindings. So you can actually do full-blown programming using C# in the Godot game engine now. And like I said, it is now available on all platforms. Plus, you're going to get a performance boost over using GDScript. So definitely a nice hybrid there between dropping down into the low-level language of C++ or the higher level but kind of proprietary nature and slower nature of GDScript. So that's what C# is all about. Plus, there's a huge community of C# developers, especially with the success of game engines such as Unity out there, but it is also used in CryEngine. There's tons of languages out there, or engines out there that use the C# programming language. It probably needs no introduction. So for that, I am going to move on. Next up, we have C++. Now, the C++ bindings in Godot are a little bit complicated, so I actually did a video and a post on this in the past. There are a couple of different options there. Obviously, you can start off straight out. Godot itself is written in C++, so if you want to extend Godot, you can do so using the C++ language. Also, and I briefly mentioned it earlier in this video, there is GD native. Now, GD native is designed kind of as it's a plugin interface that makes it easier to use or extend C++ code into the Godot game engine. This allows you to kind of dynamically load things. You don't have to completely rebuild Godot from source code if you use GD native, unlike modules. Now, modules are extensions for Godot, and basically you could write your entire game as a module if you wished using the C++ language and module approach. The downside here is you have to do a rebuild of the entire game engine. Now, it's not a huge engine in that regard. It's not going to take a huge amount of time to do a rebuild, but it is a bit of a pain. And so that's the out-of-the-box stuff, the stuff that probably all of you are all aware of already. So now let's get into the things that are new. And the first one we have here is a project called ECMA script. Now, this is going to give you JavaScript binding into the Godot engine, and because there's various different other languages out there that can transpile into JavaScript, such as TypeScript, you get those for free as well. Now, this is a community project. Of course, this is the work of one guy, as far as I know, but it is very active. The last update was 4 days ago, and this binding will enable you via module support, by the way, so it is going to require you to build it when you download it, but the instructions are all available here, and if not, I actually have details on how to do it, plus they also have precompiled binaries available on the release page, so that is definitely nice. So if you want to use JavaScript or TypeScript or probably CoffeeScript or the various other derived JavaScript languages out there, you can do so here. They've even got some details on how to work with signals and properties. Really cool there. So next up, we have Kotlin. Now, Kotlin is a programming language from the guys behind, it's JetBrains, the people behind IntelliJ, WebStorm, PHPStorm, CLion, ReSharper, etc. They made their own programming language. It's a Java-based language, but it is completely its own thing. The Kotlin language bindings for Godot game engine use GD native in this particular case. and you've got some details on how you can set up. You can use the IntelliJ IDE for doing your coding here, and some details on how to make things work. So Kotlin is a language I've been really interested in for quite a while, but I've never really jumped into with a ton of detail at this point in time. All right, so moving on from Kotlin, we then have Lua script. Now, Lua is what actually a lot of people say they should have used instead of GD script, and I can see the argument here for sure. They said, the developers in the Godot team said that there was performance ramifications, etc. for doing this, but Lua is embedded in tons of projects as a nice, easy to learn scripting language, and it is. It's very straightforward, simple to learn. You can see here 9 days ago since the last update, so this is a project that is still very much under development. Supports Lua 5.4 in Godot 3.2 or higher. 4.0 is currently too unstable. You see the full API has been implemented. Language coding on the fly in Godot's built-in editor. That's kind of cool as well. So you can actually do it directly inside of Godot if you so wish. There are some setups for how you go ahead and build this one as well. Lua is a really simple and straightforward language. It's the kind of thing that you can learn easily in a weekend. It's not object-oriented or anything like that. It is all entirely table-based in its way it works. It is quite a simple language, but it's also a lightweight language, and it's good for embedding, so you should get decent performance out of it. And Lua is used a little bit less these days, but it was used in a number of game engines in the past, plus frameworks like it's called Solar 2. It used to be called Corona. They renamed that. I have no idea why. So that is Lua language in there. Next up, we have Python. Now, Python, this one is going to be a little bit unique in terms of, and it's kind of funny because GDScript itself is based on the Python programming language, but full support for Python has never been in there. This one is still under active development 21 days ago since the last commit. This one enables you to use the Python, the full language, not a subset or a language, like a tribute band version language of it, but the actual full-blown Python programming language. Now, the cool thing about this one is if you head on over to Godot itself, head into the asset library and do a search there, like so, you will find it right here. So you can download it and install it, and you're good to go. So it's super simple to get this one up and going. It is a module, but it is distributed via the asset lib. And as far as I know of all of these things, this is the only one that can be installed this way. So this is the easiest one to get up and going with, other than, of course, the 3 languages out of the box, or 4, I guess it is, the C++, the C#, the Visual Script, and the GD script. So beyond those, if you want to extend Godot to have new functionality, the Python script language is as easy as it is to get up and going. Again, you can also build it this way if you so wish. They've got releases that you can install yourself, and this one enables you to use the Python programming, the full fat Python programming language for working with Godot. And then we have Rust. Now, this is probably one of the most popular languages right now. I just did a video on a Rust game engine a couple of days back, and Rust module support for Godot has been out for a while, as you can see by the last commit being yesterday. This one is very much under active development. Rust is kind of an up-and-coming language. It's sort of let's try and take C++ but make it safer and easier to use language, and this enables you to use it in Godot 3.2. Now, of course, almost everything, by the way, is broken in Godot 4 because Godot 4 is very much under heavy development, so don't be shocked by that feature there. But yeah, this one's got a few more issues with getting it up and running, a couple more things you're going to run through. But as you can see, you can use the Rust programming language to do Godot programming. Now, this is one that, again, there has been enough interest on it. I've considered doing a singular video on kind of getting up and running. It's also probably the most complicated to get up and running. Let me know if you're interested in a full-featured Godot Rust video, and I'll potentially cover that on the channel in the future. And that's it. So that's the list of languages that I know of. Now, there may be more out there because anyone in the community can extend using the plugin interfaces available in Godot to provide a number of different languages. In fact, the GDScript language itself is implemented as a module, same with Visual Script and so on. So all of these, and I believe C# support as well. So you can add language support for whatever language you are interested in with Godot. But out of the box, we have, or out of the box plus these ones I've shown you today, we have GDScript, we have Visual Script, we have C#, we have C++ in all of its various different forms. We have JavaScript, Kotlin, Lua script, Python, and finally Rust. And I'm curious to hear which one you are most interested in the comments down below. And again, I leave that question down to you. Are you interested in hearing more about the Godot Rust bindings and how to use them? And if you are, please do let me know that as well. And that's it. Let me know what you think. And again, if you know of any languages I happen to miss here, I'd be interested in hearing about those in the comments down below. And I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.